How's it going, guys? It's Eugene, and I am back bringing you the much anticipated Titan X Pascal SLI benchmarks. As you might have heard in my last video, which I'll link to up here, I put these in my Yeezus test bench, which I built for the purpose of checking out how well these bad boys do on air cooling before I put them in Nostromo. The numbers are pretty spectacular. I don't want to waste too much more time, so let's just get into them. So first off, I ran the 3D Mark synthetic benchmark suite, and here there's a couple different options. There's Firestrike, Firestrike Extreme, Firestrike Ultra, and Time Spy. These are all meant to check computers of different configuration levels. Each one is designed for higher and higher end gaming PCs. But I think it's helpful to run all of them to kind of see how your computer stacks up against others in these different comparable classes. And as you can see, I mean, these numbers are just way off the charts. So next up, I tested Hitman, which I don't know if you guys have played, but it's the 2016 refresh of the Hitman franchise that Square Enix has put together. It's really fun. It's kind of a serialized type of release where every couple weeks or every month or so, they give you a new level, a new kind of playground to play in. You get all these different objectives with it. And it's a good game to benchmark because it's pretty graphically intensive, and there's also a lot of detail in every scene. There's a lot of NPCs walking around, a lot of random elements that we all know and love from the Hitman games. And here, again, you can see that these numbers are well above 70 FPS in 4K. Next up, Grand Theft Auto V. This is a perennial benchmarking favorite, a pretty CPU-intensive game and a GPU-intensive game, of course. And with all the settings cranked up all the way, at 4K, this is pushing well above 100 FPS. I was so delighted to see that. Rise of the Tomb Raider is another one that I thought it would be interesting to test. This one was known for pretty good SLI scaling, at least in the Maxwell generation. I wanted to see how it does on Pascal, and no surprise, it performs very, very well, particularly with overclocks. Again, over 100 FPS at 4K. I was also excited to see how well Doom does. This new version of Doom is fantastic. It's got that frenetic, action-packed gameplay that you associate with Doom, but also, of course, gorgeous graphics, amazing settings, that rich atmosphere, just makes for an awesome single-player action experience. One of my favorite games of the year by far. I also tested The Division because this was one that I actually had trouble with on my three-way 980 Ti's in SLI. Granted, the build of this game has been updated significantly since I last tested them, but still, I mean, again, you're getting amazing numbers with these Pascal Titan X's. And finally, The Witcher 3. This is a game that I am still playing well over a year after its release, and it's just scratching that deep, rich, story-driven RPG itch for me, especially with all the DLC. I mean, I'm just diving deeper and deeper into this game, and I was so happy to see this performing so well at 4K. This is one of those games that does make a huge difference with those lush outdoor landscapes. So what does this tell us? I mean, not everyone is going to go out and buy two Titan X's, so who cares how high these numbers are? I wouldn't advise anyone to go out and buy two Titan X's because even for an enthusiast, it's somewhat prohibitive. So I think what this does tell us is that for gamers who want that 4K resolution, but also those high frame rates, that's just around the corner. Probably with the next generation of GPUs, you're going to see a single card that can run 4K games at 60, 70, and above FPS. Of course, 4K has been here for a while, but watching TV shows and movies and editing photos at 4K is great, but you don't need that 60 FPS in order to make that a good experience. But for gaming, you really do. And so getting a single card, relatively inexpensive solution for 60 plus FPS, maybe 100 FPS in the next generation, I think is a total possibility. Especially if you think about how high the jump was from Maxwell Titan X to Pascal Titan X. I think it's completely possible. I think we're going to see it, and I'm so excited for that. So as I mentioned before, in the third video of this series, I'm going to show you guys how to overclock the graphics cards. That could apply to Pascal Titan X or really any card in the Pascal line, including the upcoming 1050s. And you might be wondering what kind of overclocks I got on these. I got them up to plus 185 megahertz on the core clock and plus 250 on memory, which I think is decent. Not the best, but these cards run hot, and again, this is air cooling. They got loud, the fans were kicked all the way up, so I want to save most of my overclocking testing for when they're underwater in Nostromo. But nevertheless, next time, I know most of you guys, or a fair majority of you, are going to be running these cards with air cooling, so the video will focus on air-cooled, overclocked Pascal video cards. And that'll be the next video on this channel. Until then, if you like this video, please hit like, please subscribe. I don't do advertising or anything like that, so really it's just your subscriptions and feedback that keep me going and encourage me to put out more content. So until the next overclocking tutorial, this has been Eugene Tries.